The Damned is creeping into theaters this January. Horror movie fans are pretty dedicated and see most things in my experience, and I am no different. Should this be something you seek out in a movie theater, or should you wait for it to slink out of the shadows onto a streaming service? Stick around and I will let you know. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Sean. I love movies and I also consider myself a horror girly, so I had to go see the latest buzzy horror film to drop in theaters. The Damned is, from what I can tell from my research, the debut feature film of director Thordor Paulson. I hope I said that correctly, and I truly apologize if I did not. Paulson's other big credit on IMDb is a TV series called The Valhalla Murders, which I have respectfully never heard about until now. The Damned came onto my radar because the trailer played ahead of several releases I saw in the last few weeks, like Craven the Hunter and The Order. The Damned stars Odessa Young of Assassination Nation and The Order fame, Joe Cole from Peaky Blinders and Green Room, Siobhan Finneran, who my fellow Downton Abbey heads know as Sarah O'Brien, and Rory McCann, who is, of course, most known as the Hound on Game of Thrones. He was one of my favorite performances on that entire series, for sure. Excuse me. The Damned follows a woman in the 19th century who owns and operates a fishing station in Iceland. She and her crew make the difficult choice to not help a sinking ship off in the distance as to not jeopardize their own lives and resources during an already difficult winter season. I don't think that's a spoiler, as it is pretty much in the trailers for the film if you've seen the trailers, and it is one of the first scenes in the movie. The crew then begins to experience a collective series of interesting and possible paranormal hurdles as they grapple with their decision and the winter marches on around them. Atmosphere is the name of the game throughout The Damned, not to disparage any of the performances, which are quite good. The movie's biggest strength, though, in my eyes, was how effectively it conveys the sheer harshness of the cold surroundings at this fishing station. You really feel the bitter cold that these characters experience amidst their horror, and that environmental atmosphere, paired with the paranormal creature appearing very slowly in shadows and squishing through various cabins and snowscapes, was really a visual treat. Two thumbs up from me in that respect. The movie really has to achieve quite a bit in a short runtime. The film is only 90 minutes long, and it's maybe a little bit less than that, actually. But, you know, if I'm being honest, I have no problem with long movies or short ones as long as the storytelling and the pacing feels good. The Damned is very efficient and very economical with its runtime. I think the filmmakers knew that drawing out this premise with too big of an ensemble or too much diving into the lore of the antagonistic creature would have soured the waters, and they were totally right. I think the movie does not overstay its welcome in any way whatsoever. Would an extra 15 minutes have hurt the movie? Not necessarily. There are a few deaths that happen very quickly, for example, in a way that did not really register. So I didn't really treat them with the proper amount of gravity, I should say, just because it took me a minute to realize who exactly had died in that moment. I won't spoil the order in which the deaths occur or their nature, but there's a character who literally just vanishes from the film one scene and completely dies off screen. We see their body later on in the movie during one of the more climactic sequences, but we're never really clued into what exactly their mission was while everyone else remained at the fishing station. And there's another death early on in the movie that occurs during the night, and I could only you know, I did my best, but I could not tell until after every character was back in their common area at the station who exactly was the man or woman that had gotten murdered during that nighttime group scene. A lot of the movie takes place in the dark, but clarifies its action pretty well. So that initial salvo stood out to me more because I was confused as to who exactly was getting axed from the film in that particular moment. Whereas the rest of the movie has plenty of nighttime sequences that look very good and very clear, where choreography and staging is not an issue. Maybe I was just, exhausted, or, maybe it was a blink and you miss it moment, but I literally could not for the life of me make out who exactly was getting killed in that scene. Um, you know, Maybe that's just a personal problem. Um, Additionally, though, there's at least one fishing expedition or like character mission that occurs off screen and has various serious consequences for our characters. The group comes back from this expedition that the audience does not see, and at least one character is gravely physically and psychologically wounded during that time off screen. And that was I understand it as a creative choice, I guess, but you know, I was left wanting more. We see briefly as the audience some of what occurred via a flashback, but for how much this particular mission or moment propels the plot forward, I was surprised that the movie did not want to show us more of what exactly transpired over the course of the hours on this mission or this outing. I know realistically why we don't see this mission in question. Of course, the film has really only a few settings to work with because it is a very small film with a small budget. So filming this extra scene and its action in all of its glory would have cost a lot more than just a convincing scene after the fact where you trust your good actors. Like I said, the actors are good, where you trust your actors to convey the seriousness of the situation after it has happened. And that's fine and that's fair. I was just a little bummed by it because I wanted to see more creepy, cool stuff. I will give the film credit, however, for not maintaining the kill order that I was expecting throughout the runtime. The final few characters that we end up with during the big climax of the movie is absolutely not the gang of people that I was anticipating finishing the movie with. And I always appreciate when a horror film subverts my expectations and kills characters in an order way outside of what I assumed was going to happen in my head. For that particular reason, I also find myself enjoying the A24 film Y2K from earlier in 2024. That movie is pretty divisive, I guess, but it's very different from The Damned, and I don't think you could argue that the deaths in that film, though, happen in the order you were expecting. If you have seen that movie, I think you know what I'm talking about. If you claim otherwise, I simply don't believe you, or you were on a different kind of galaxy brain plane of existence that I'm just not privy to, just being real. But anyway, as far as The Damned goes, on my ranking system, where would it be? Is it A list, amazing, average, abysmal, or did it need to be A boarded? And listen, I do reserve the right to change those monikers as I see fit. I'm kind of retooling that day to day, but for my purposes here, I think The Damned is a lean and solid little horror movie that's a fun feature debut from a visually talented director. It's average, but in the same sense that if it was on a numerical scale, it would be a solid like gentleman's 3 out of 5, right? Um, you know, horror fans will be pleased with this one, I think, or at least most of them will. I think it offers enough of ambiguity for your elevated horror nerds out there, and it offers enough plain creepy, crawly, gory scenes for those who just want to go see blood and guts. I think it kind of meets in the middle in a way that should please most people. And depending on my mood, I'm kind of in camp A or camp B. But I thought this healthy mix of the two was totally fine and totally welcome. Um, I saw The Damned as a part of an experiment where I am seeing as many movies as possible with AMC A List in 1 year, and I saved $12.99 on this ticket, which I think is a good enough deal in this scenario. The movie is short and will probably play nice on streaming late at night if you prefer to do your horror movie screenings that way. But, I'm not complaining that I saw it in a movie theater. If I paid I understand that like with the price of movie tickets inflating with everything else, but movie tickets have been expensive for quite a while already, that you really want bang for your buck, and maybe you want a longer movie if you're going to pay that much for a theater. But if you already have AMC A List and you're a horror movie girly like me, like I don't really see any issue with saving 13 bucks or just shy of 13 bucks to go see this in a movie theater. I love seeing stuff in movie theaters if I have the option to. So that is my 2 cents on The Damned. Thank you very much for watching. Did you see The Damned? And if you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments if you want to. What is your most anticipated horror film of 2025? I think this movie technically came out in 2024 at one festival or another, or maybe it was, limited in certain areas. or in other countries before coming in the US. I believe it is technically a 2024 film, but I saw it in 2025. Um, as far as horror movies go, this I think counts. It looks like maybe an action horror movie, but personally, I cannot wait for Ryan Coogler's Sinners. That's just me, but I would say that's probably my most anticipated, excuse me, horror film of the year, followed closely by Presence. I really like the trailer for that one. But anyway, feel free to like this video or subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay safe. Don't awaken any undead demons. Bye.